We talked about the Chiefs, okay?
Mm-hmm.
They won Sunday Night Football. They win the game. The Falcons, I don't know what they're doing on a 4th and 1. They pitching the ball out back 5 yards, trying to pick up a first down to keep the drive going. Just bad coaching. I'm not a football coach. Does it make sense to you to pitch the ball out and back 5 yards?
Not against a fast defense, too.
To try to get it when everybody's on the line of scrimmage, you're not passing the ball in that situation. Mm-hmm. Everybody knows what's going to happen. So where are you going?
No, they had a couple of chances to win this, the Falcons, too, which leads to the conversation we're having about the Chiefs, Rob, where they could be 0-3 or 3-0, which obviously they're the latter, but we could be sitting here right now and be saying they're 0-3. And they were right there in games. You had the Ravens, if they're not for a big toe, they lose that game. They had the nerve to want to lose this game against the Falcons. They're just not – look, something's off right now.
And when you say something, especially the guy at the top.
They barely beat the Bengals, who we're watching right now, get beat up a little bit with the Commanders. So that was the other game. The Bengals, they beat by 1, and that was a crazy how, you had to get some pass interference calls, a couple of fluky things
help,
here.
Yep.
Some help. So they're off. Something's off. But we had Rod Woodson on last hour for those just joining, and he had a great point in that. Look, at one end, you got to look at it and say they keep finding ways to win. And if they mess around and get stuff and get in sync and get this thing going, then it's even scarier that they're finding ways to win close games, finding a way to win ugly games, finding a way to win games that they're not supposed to be in or win, and they are. What happens if they start cleaning up in their act? They start clicking. Travis Kelce cuts his hair and gets his real haircut back, or cuts his mustache, starts to come to play football.
But here's the problem. And it all got washed away because they won the Super Bowl, so no one won. But this is longer than just these 3 games. Last year, Mahomes had a terrible year. Okay, here we go. This year. 69.6% completion rate.
Which I'll take that.
Okay, 659 yards. 5 touchdowns, 4 picks through the first 3 games.
That.
His 219.7 yards average is well off his average of 261.4 yards in 2023. His 4 interceptions are 3rd most in the NFL. And his QBR, are you ready for this?
Mm-hmm.
Is 51.2, is 18th in the NFL, just behind Daniel Jones. And we know how bad Daniel Jones is. Okay?
Daniel Jones' ears just perked up. He's like, whoa, what? Really?
And we talked about this a little bit on Friday, but it just continues, and it is surprising. We talked about it coming into that game. His last 7 games, he had 9 touchdowns and 8 interceptions. Regular season game, not the postseason. He played way better in the postseason. So that erased everything. But this is now another. Last year he blamed the receivers. Oh, everybody, they can't catch. They had the most drops, all this other stuff. But the drops I get. But throwing the interception doesn't mean that had anything to do with receivers dropping the ball. He threw the ball, and it was picked off.
And to be fair, he has overthrown players. He has his team looking out of sync. There was a bunch of times last night if you were watching the game. I mean, guys are stopping their routes mid-route there. He's mad. Wait, no, you were supposed to keep coming. No, I thought you were going to go that way. And something's off. And I don't know if they're feeling themselves because they have 3 titles, and obviously you always get new players, so not every player has 3 titles, but the core of the team, the head coach, Andy Reid, and on down, they have 3 titles. They've been to, 4 Super Bowls? Like, this is what we've come to expect, and I don't know if they're resting on that. Now, it's also something to be fair that they are getting everybody's best shot. They're the Warriors of, 5-6 years ago. They're the Patriots of 10, 15 years ago, where people are circling this game. It's going down. I know big games.
But this isn't
everybody's
going
to be there.
This has been the last 5 years.
But when you're aging, look, Travis Kelce in football years is what, 62?
Well, he's really struggled. I mean,
he's finally come down to earth. We kept saying he's getting a little longer in the tooth. Pick it up. Listen, commercials, traveling, new haircut.
Podcast.
Come on, man. Podcasting, hanging out with your brother, doing all this stuff. And, yes, he would get mad right now if he's listening to us and be like, that's not it. We're just out of sync. And we're not saying it singularly is. But if you mix in all of that, you mix in that he's aging. You know what I mean? This does happen, by the way. People do age. And I expect him to bounce back at some point. And, hey, by the way, you've been good for so long. You are the focal point of our defense, right? If we can stop you all's connection, Patrick Mahomes and your connection, we've got a great chance to stay in this game and a great chance to win it. And it seemingly has been working because everybody else is saying we don't trust these other receivers on the outside. Well, they're out of sync. They ain't getting open. They're dropping balls. It ain't Patrick Mahomes has no vibes, no connection with them. If we stop Kelce, we got a shot. And that's what's starting to happen. But credit them. Ultimately, when you close your eyes and you're looking at the next morning you wake up, you're looking at the win-loss column, they keep being on the right side of it.
Yeah, but that doesn't mean that they're I get it, and wins can cover up a lot.
They do.
They're like makeup.
They absolutely
cover
do.
up a lot, but at some point, you can't keep playing with fire and think everything's going to keep going your way. You still have to produce, and they just haven't done it. Don't forget, even when they beat the Ravens in the AFC Championship game, they got shut out in the second half.
They did.
Patrick Mahomes' team got shut out in the second half of an AFC Championship game, they still won somehow because Baltimore didn't play well. That's a shocking thing.
But
that
aren't
they
we
couldn't
looking
score.
at? Listen, so we spent some of this show today saying Baltimore didn't play well. Baltimore didn't close the deal. Baltimore didn't finish. And now with the Chiefs, we're saying the opposite. They didn't look good. They found a way to win. They didn't look good. The defense got to stop. They didn't look good. He finally threw a touchdown at the end. They didn't look good. A field goal. The special teams got a field goal. So I think we are witnessing that, listen, part of this thing is, man, it ain't always going to be pretty. But you got to find a way to win. And Baltimore has shown us sometimes where they dominated games. And then we go, how do they lose this game?
Yeah, but the only difference, here's where I'll push back on you, is Patrick Mahomes is people on reputation, he's the best quarterback going. He has not played like that for more than a year. True. And that's all I'm saying.
He's admitted. There he is on the T-Mobile commercial, too. Maybe too many commercials.
That too. He's on every commercial. But at some point, you got to start to say, dude, I'm not saying that he can't be in a conversation or whatever, but this whole automatically living on the past when we have a body of work that's more than a year. It's not a bad couple games to start the year. Last year he had a lot of interceptions. He didn't play. He's even admitted, and he said after the game he's not having fun. It's just he has to play better, and that's all I'm saying. It's this is a pattern that's more than a year now.
And listen, I can't disagree with you. He can't disagree with you. Travis Kelce, who's been heated at his own self, can't disagree with you. Andy Reid can't. But the only thing I will say,
I think even Taylor Swift would say that he's
he coming home. He came home one day. She was like, "What's up, baby?" She was like, "Hey, you better get it right. This next hit about to be about you. You better get it right." Everybody here has been in a relationship, whether you're in one currently or at least, you've been one. Rob, you were married for 5 years, even though the odd couple with Chris Broussard lasted longer.
I know. And that only lasted longer because we lived in different places.
That is true. Because if y'all two would have been next to each other, they'd have been on my phone line a little earlier.
Rob G, just be honest. Be honest. I want you to really be honest on this.
Okay.
Some of the heated arguments that we have or had on being cross-country, would there have ever been blows if we were in the same studio?
I'm going to say no.
I agree.
Okay.
I think you were more likely to get into it,
with Doug Gottlieb?
No. Yes. Let me rephrase that. Because you guys were not in the studio together, it made the arguments worse. Because no matter how many times before when you guys were both in the studio, you get into it, knock down, drag out, even cursing, Rob.
Did I curse one time?
Yes, you did a couple of times.
What?
On air and off air.
Did he make Brother Chris cuss?
No.
I was about to be like.
No. But the
freaking frack.
The difference is when you're in studio, you still sit next to the guy for 3 more hours.
Right.
So you find time during the commercial breaks to talk it out.
To figure it out.
You figure it out, whatever. When you're not in studio together.
And you're 3,000 miles away.
And someone says something that really gets in your gears, and you don't get to talk to him during the commercial break, and you just have to wait till the next segment and act like nothing happened. That's when it becomes real tricky.
Okay.
Well, if you want to throw some blows, let me know.
No, we're not throwing blows. I'm just saying.
I'm back in my gym bag.
We're all good.
No.
All right, but 877-99
my whole point, real quick, before we go to the phone,
Yep,
the whole last point I wanted to make quickly was relationships. I brought up everybody's been in a relationship. You had the marriage. Was simply to say one thing I think what we're witnessing with the Chiefs is anybody who's been in a healthy, working, thriving relationship, we know sometimes the other person has to carry the load for a little bit. Sometimes she's, hey, I got these couple jobs. This is good opportunity. Great things are happening. She's got to carry the load. In my household, hey, babe, I'm going to law school. We got these kids. I know you're working, but I had to carry the load. And I think right now we're witnessing the Kansas City Chiefs version of, hey, defense, the last year or so, y'all been carrying the load. We appreciate you because the offense did it for some time. Now the defense is carrying the load. And that might be a healthy relationship where the offense swings back and they get things right.
Only issue is, you're talking about Patrick Mahomes.
I thought I had dropped the mic. I didn't know we had to have some more
yeah,
issues.
nah. Patrick doesn't get off the hook like that. He's supposed to be a generational talent, and he's supposed to be the greatest quarterback, and he's gunning for Brady and all this stuff. This stretch makes me wonder if he's going to get there because they're not going to win a Super Bowl every year and say he plays 8 more years and they don't win again. Do you see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, it's how people finish. People forget about Brady. Brady won 3 early, went 9 years without winning, and then won at the end. So you have a good feeling for him, but there was 9 years where he didn't win.